Well, happy Independence Day, Friends of Bunjie. I have Bunjie 3.0 here, the Scorpyd Deathstalker, and the Burris Oracle Scope. I'm going to take the longest shot I've ever taken, and I'll talk about that in just a second here. But I want to wish you a happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day for us Americans, and I hope you are having just a great Monday. I guess it's Monday, right? I'm not at work. A great day off if that's how it is working for you. I want to introduce you to not just Bunjie 3.0, but we've had to make some changes here. And look at that. Isn't that high tech? We have the most high-tech scope in the business, a range-finding scope from Oracle. I did a video on that. Check it out. The Burris Oracle X is from Burris, not Oracle, but the model is the Oracle X for crossbows. And I love this thing, range-finding scope. I'm going to have to get another one for the original Bunjie. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. I am thinking about doing that, believe it or not. I'm going to try it out on there first and see if I like it or not. The biggest challenge I've had with it, it works instantaneously, allows you to select yardages perfectly. It's great. The problem is the cheek weld. Wow. I had to put this rag on there and zip tie it on for the time being. I have a better fix coming, so I'm very excited about that. We have, anytime you change one thing on a crossbow, it changes a bunch of other things now, doesn't it? That's just the way it is. So, but without this on here, a couple of you pointed that out. Without this on there, I'm not getting the proper cheek rest, the cheek weld, the proper height, and holy cow, does it affect accuracy. I'm pulling the crossbow. I was way off going at the longer yardages. When you start reaching out in distance a little bit, I can't say I'm good at this, right? I've only ever shot out to 60 yards because the old scope that I had, the Twilight DLX from Excalibur, love that scope, but it limits you to 60 yards. It limits me as far as weight is concerned also with the various arrow weights that I've been playing around with, because that only goes from 300 to 400 or so. And if you go below that with the old crossbow, it's a problem. If you go above that with the new crossbow, it's a problem, that kind of thing. So this does not seem to have those same limitations. So I am kind of committed to these newer scopes. I do like it. I do like the ability to range find 53 yards as opposed to 50, splitting the difference between 50 and 60 for 55, that kind of stuff. I like to know it's exactly 56 yards and have a reticle for use that is exactly at that distance. It works pretty good. I used to sight it. I'm going to give you a peek at the yard here if this will work. Hello, you folks. I'm going to go through all the videos later on, all of those comments later on, but I want to give you a look at the 60-yard backyard here. That's what it typically looks like. I used to sight in at 10, 20, 30, 40 yards, that kind of thing. Now I'm pretty commonly sighting in at 20, 40, and 60. And this scope is part of the Death by Bunjie crossbow story now, isn't it? It's going to help me decide whether these longer shots like this are more appropriate or not. Now I'm looking out here. If you look out there at our yard, you got the big bulldog, the big white bulldog on the left. That's a 20-yard shot. That's what I use to sight in this scope and get that zero line just right. The two chunks are set out at like 20 and 30, I think. And then the bore is at like 53. I've already taken a crack at the bore just to sight in for today, and it was pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I can't say that this is perfectly sighted in yet because I got this funny cheek weld on here, this cheek piece. So until I get that, until everything sort of looks like what it's going to look like for the fall, I'm not going to worry about sighting it in 100% and perfect and all that stuff. And I did take a shot at 60 out there at that block target at the very bottom. That's historically the 60-yard line. Now, what I've done over here on the right, you can see, I'm going to lift you up a little bit there. That is our buck. Do you see him? And we're going to take a crack at him here, and this will help us tell whether this longer range shots are appropriate or not. Do I like shooting longer ranges like this because it's beyond the 60-yard backyard? It's actually in the right-of-way that I mow. I technically own that corner down here, but there's a right-of-way there, and I don't typically put targets in there. A few things we should talk about before I take this shot. I'm not going to keep you here all day. Why? Because it's today is, if I can turn this back around, today is 4th of July. It's Independence Day, and a lot of us have family stuff to do. We actually did that yesterday. So over there we got Fred celebrating the 4th of July. He's got his Independence Day hat on. You can see that, the Uncle Sam hat. And then over there on the far side, I think you can see it over there, I've got the smoker running with my lunch. So I got to hurry up and get done with this so I can have my hot dogs. I'm looking at my notes down on the floor here. So a couple things about long distance shooting, okay? Aside from that cheek weld, very important. It has to be exactly the same way. The eye relief has to be the same every time you shoot. The cheek weld has to be exactly the same every time you shoot. And at distances, any inconsistencies really start to show up. This, I have the Bog Death Grip field pod here. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to turn this a little bit just to give you a view of what we got here. This thing doesn't fit in here real good because of that stock, okay, that foregrip on this Scorpyd doesn't really like to sit in here good, but I'm going to do the best I can with it. I found that if I lean it in the front, it'll work a little bit better. They make a tripod bracket for these, they do, Scorpyd does, but here's the problem with it. It doesn't fit the Deathstalker model. Can you believe that? I bought it, didn't say that on the website, bought the thing, could not get it to install because the holes are different distance apart. Turns out it wasn't me. It was actually the manufacturer. They just don't make one for this model. So that's the way it is. We have that problem. But, you know, just like I found a workaround with this, I have a much better cheek piece coming, but I found a workaround for that. I'll find a workaround for this too and put some washers in there or something. I don't know. Some inserts with bolts or something. I don't know. But we're going to take a shot. The other problem that you have, though, is canting. Now, this Bog Death Grip field pod, whatever it is, does have a level built into it, and so as long as I don't wobble the crossbow too much, I shouldn't have to worry about canting. Canting's when the limbs of your crossbow tilt to one side or another. Doesn't make any difference at 20 yards if that's your 0 point, but man, out at 70 yards, 80 yards, whatever this deer is at, it's going to make a big difference, right? Because if we, you know, your reticles are up right up and straight and down, and all of a sudden if you turn it like this, all of a sudden now you're aiming over here, but gravity is putting the arrow down here, see? So that's a problem, that canting. So we got to make sure we got it perfectly level. Fortunately, this scope does have built in a level, right? It kind of tells you. It's not real detailed, but it's probably enough to get us by. Out to 60 doesn't seem to make much difference, but we're going to take a crack at 70, whatever this deer is at, and we're going to see how that goes. So, I am a little nervous, and I do want to verify for you. I promise you, I have never shot this far before, not even at that deer. I did have that deer out in the right of way earlier, had it out there yesterday, set all the stuff up on Friday, I think. But I had it out there yesterday. I did take a crack at it, but I moved it farther down into the corner, and I don't even know the exact yardage. Arrow-wise, I'm just using a stock Deathstalker arrow for a Deathstalker crossbow. I don't know that you can do better than that. But we're going to load that bad boy in there, and we are going to see how we make out. That likes that. And I'm going to turn you guys around. We're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. I'm going to try and zoom you in down there. I don't know how far that is, but man, that's a long ways on for... I hope the phone will pick it up. I do have Luminox on here, so we should have... it should be kind of bright, you know. Should be able to see it. See what we're doing. We're going to take a crack at it. Okay, are you ready? Happy 4th of July. We're going to get some fireworks going here. Get my fingers on here. And I'm range finding. I'm going to push the button. I wish I had 2 cameras so I could show you what I'm doing here. Someday we'll have a camera on the scope so we can actually see through the scope maybe and live stream it. That would be cool. All right, I range found it. It is at 72 yards. Holy cow. 72 on the nose is what it's saying. I'm going to range find that again just to make sure. And it says 72 yards. All right, wish me luck. Here we go. The red dot appears instantaneously. Are you ready? Oh, nice high shot. I think he ducked the string. What do you think of that? Well, not bad. I feel a lot better. It's like I'm getting the monkey off your back, you know. I like the fact the windage was perfect. I hit right in the top of the foam insert for that target. That's pretty cool. So that's my Independence Day video, our 4th of July video. 72 yards. Wow, that's a long ways. That just seems like such a long ways to me. I will tell you this, I have absolutely no intention whatsoever of taking a 72-yard shot on a deer. That is not going to happen. And this little experiment really tells you why. I mean, that target didn't move, but I'm still, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches high from where I was aiming. I'll go down there and measure it. Get an idea for it. I will be truing this scope in better when I get a better cheek piece on it and all that good stuff. I'll do some videos on it down the road probably, let you know what I'm doing with that stuff. But it's looking pretty good. It's a lot of fun to shoot, that's for sure. And I do like this scope. Okay, the scope, the crossbow, it's a good setup. The arrow setup, everything seems to be working well. But we're not going to be taking 72-yard shots in the woods. I don't think that's going to happen. So there's no question that a crossbow like this, a faster, more modern crossbow, does increase my maximum effective range somewhat, right? But not to 72 yards. At least not in my opinion. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of that. I hope you have a great 4th of July. And I have some stuff on the grill I'm going to go enjoy. And until next time, all hail Bunjie. Happy 4th of July, you guys.